Hello, good afternoon, friends. Welcome to today's session of materials management. Today we'll be discussing Unit 12, that is materials management and its organizations. Let us first discuss the importance of materials. Consider a manufacturing unit, say a tire manufacturing unit. The raw material for a tire is mainly rubber, might be natural or synthetic or a combination of both. 80% is of rubber and 20% of reinforcing material. Heavy vehicles, they need more natural rubber, and light vehicles, they need more synthetic rubber. So it constitutes 80% and reinforcement material 20%. Then the direct material cost, this rubber and all, it is 200 rupees per kg, the rubber cost. And if you consider the conversion cost is rupees 70 kg of rubber. So here we have fixed cost. Fixed cost is rupees 25, which includes the salary of staffs, that means permanent staffs, their insurance, depreciation of machines, etc. This is rupees 25 per kg, and variable cost is rupees 45, which includes your outsourcing labor, rupees 30, and rest 15 includes power, fuel, maintenance. So out of 270, 20% is the direct material, is raw material, rubber. So your total manufacturing cost is direct material cost plus direct labor plus manufacturing overhead. So here material cost is around 75% of total cost. So this is important. Suppose you are costing a product, the material cost is around 75%. So if you are managing material, one of the M, so you are managing 75% of the cost. Coming to this 5 M's theory of management, to every organization wants to increase the ROI, that is return on investment. Mainly there are two objectives. One is to minimize waste, and second is to reduce cost of goods. So here this waste minimization and reduction in cost of goods, out of these 5, this material is important. Because we have seen in the last slide that material cost is around 75%. So if you take the Pareto's principle, vital few and trivial many, that means it is known as 80 by 20 rule. It is a phenomenon that states that roughly 80% of outcomes comes from 20% of causes. That means here, if you are managing only the material out of 5M, material, man, money, method, machines, if we are giving effort to only materials, so we are managing this 75% of the cost. So that is the importance of material management. Material management should have high degree of importance in the overall management of an enterprise for the following reasons. The first is materials account for a very large proportion of the total cost of the goods and services. We have seen around 75% in the manufacturing plant, like tires. So therefore, the effective and efficient management of materials become a very powerful potential area for cost reduction and value enhancement. Material constitutes a very important resource input to production or service system, and hence availability of right quantity in right quality in right quantity at the right place and at the right time. Right. So this is important. And in the era of global competitions, the pressure is for customer satisfaction. You have to satisfy your customer. How you satisfy your customer? Delivering value has customer satisfaction delivering value has reduced margins of profit because customer wants quality products in low price and there are a lot of competitions. Supply is high. There are n number of players. So hence coordinating material flow across global locations economically calls for managing material flow into, through and out of the system efficiently and effectively. Then coming to the objective, material management's primary objective is to integrate and manage the sourcing, flow and control of materials using a total system perspective across multiple functions. Consider, this is phase one. Consider any organizations, say manufacturing organizations. So here you have suppliers and suppliers is outside, customer is outside. And in the manufacturing unit, these all functional areas can be divided into three. One is purchasing, another is production, another is distribution. So first, in independent supply chain entities, all these 5 entities are separate. Customer and suppliers, they are outsiders, and these purchasing, production, distributions inside the organizations, they act as separate entity. So what is purchase department's objective? Purchase department objective is to reduce the purchase cost. So how they can reduce the purchase cost? They will buy bulk quantity, they will get quantity discount. But if they buy bulk quantity, so inventory cost will be high. As we have seen, the inventory is attached to working capital. So your working capital increases means overall return on investment will decrease. So you have conflict of interest, right? So in second phase, in internal integration, we integrate this purchasing, production and distribution. So we integrate these three, right? So this is known as internal supply chain. It is otherwise known as materials management department. That means integrating purchasing, production and distribution. This is, we are coordinating all these things. But here suppliers are separate, customers are also separate. In the next phase, supply chain integration, here we integrate supplier as well as customer. So this is internal supply chain, purchasing, production, distribution. Internal supply chain, this is internal supply chain. We are taking suppliers and customers. So objective of purchase department, as you have seen, production department and distribution department differs with overall objective of supply chain management of an organization. So what is the objective of supply chain? To reduce overall system cost and satisfy the customer. This is important, to reduce the overall system cost. It is not only to reduce only the distribution cost. It is to reduce the overall this cost. Suppose distributions, what is distribution department's objective? Distribution department objective is full capacity of truckload, so that your distribution cost will reduce. But what is marketing's objective? Marketing objectives is to satisfy your customer. So how you satisfy your customer? Customer will be satisfied if the lead time decreases. So there is always conflict in objectives. So always there is a trade-off. So we will work on this trade-off. Then coming to return on investment. Return on investment is profit divided by capital. So what is profit? Sales minus manufacturing cost. So generally we cannot increase the sales price, right? So the major thrust area is we can decrease the manufacturing cost, right? And due to the competition, the sales price cannot be increased. material cost reduction becomes an important lever for earning profit. So that is why we are nowadays people are giving maximum thrust to cost cutting. Coming to benefits of materials management, it is providing greater direct control over material cost. We want to reduce material cost, so it provides greater direct control, because here we are earlier purchasing, production and distributions were separate. We are acting as separate entity. Here we club together, we integrate. So purchasing people can able to know about production, distribution people also purchasing and production. So greater direct control over these materials. Focusing the total system approach instead of a restrictive functional approach. As we have seen, these functions were separate. Now we club together these functions. Sharing ideas among the various materials functions. So they form a team, they can share ideas. Exposing a person to multifunctional areas. A production department is also exposed to purchasing and distribution. So he can have a say, he can suggest something. Developing greater operating efficiencies as material functions work together. If you work together, then your operating efficiency will increase. It is the overall synergy effect. Synergy means, suppose 1 plus 1 is not 2, it is more than 2. The cooperative working together of 2 or more people or organizations when their combined effort is greater than the sum of their individual efforts. Next is our various activities and functions of materials management. First one is to anticipate a firm's purchase material requirements, because we have seen the material management, we have purchase, production, distribution. So first is anticipate a firm's purchase material requirement. What are the requirements? Purchase requirements. Then source materials with the best qualified supplier. Suppose there are n number of suppliers, you select the suppliers as per some procedures and all. Supplier selection. Then introduce new materials into the organizations. You see whether alternative materials is available or not. Monitor and control the status of materials as a current asset throughout the process of its working in the organization. Status of material, status of raw material, status of working process also. And of course, finished goods. Next is value engineering. What is value engineering? It is a systematic, organized approach to providing necessary functions in a project at a lower cost. That means value is same, or you can increase the value but at a lower cost. That means your return on investment will increase, or your customer satisfactions will also increase. Next is vendor development. That means, suppose here the suppliers are called vendor. So here in the supply chain phase, you integrate supplier and you want to develop suppliers. You share your information with the suppliers. And suppose the supplier is weak in these technologies and all, you can share your manpower, your technology to them. So if by supplier development, it is a win-win situation. Suppliers profit as well as manufacturers profit. And it is a long-term profit to both the organizations. So the functional areas involved in material management usually includes purchasing, production control, shipping, receiving, and stores. So functions of a materials manager we will study in detail. One is purchasing. Next is you receive the material through inbound transportation. Next is you have to check the quality, inbound quality control. Then you receive and storage. Next is material control. Then production planning and scheduling. Next is vendor development. Last one is import substitutions. Now we will see each one in detail. Purchasing. This is the very fast functions of any materials management department. So most organizations include purchasing as a major function within the material structure. Purchasing manager reported to the material manager in almost 70% of the firms organized under the materials management concept. Next is inbound transportation. That means from supplier, material comes to manufacturing organization. So this is inbound transportation. So there might be 4 to 5 modes. So you have to select the mode. So larger firms have a specialized traffic and transportation functions because the transportation's importance along with large volumes in monetary terms required for purchase of transportation services. For some firms, transportation is the single largest category of purchasing related cost, especially for highly diversified firms. Let us take the example of NALCO. NALCO, the full form is National Aluminium Company. NALCO is situated in Odisha. Please refer this. This is the map of Odisha. NALCO manufacturing unit is in this Anugul. This is the central part of Odisha. What is the finished product? Finished product is aluminium. And what is the raw material? For NALCO, aluminium raw material is bauxite. So where bauxite is available? Bauxite is not available in and around Anugul. Bauxite is available in this Koraput, Malkangiri, this area. That means the south part of Odisha. Mostly in India also, in this part, it is available. From this part, Damanjodi, NALCO, they have a plant in Damanjodi. That means they extract bauxite and they send it to Anugul. Now you might ask a question, why they have set up the plant in Anugul? Why not in Koraput, Damanjodi? Because you need from bauxite to get aluminium in the manufacturing process, you need energy. That means huge energy. So how you get the energy? You cannot take from grid energy. So you have to have a captive power plant. This is the captive power plant. Captive power plant means you generate your energy. So only sources of this energy is thermal. So for thermal means, what is the input? Input is coal. So coal is available in this area, Anugul, Talcher and this area. So that is why all the way from Koraput, they have transported bauxite from here to here. So from Damanjodi, they have a plant. From this Damanjodi to Anugul, it is around 451 kilometers. So how they have transported? And you have to transport this alumina. So it is a voluminous material, huge material. So they have dedicated rail. It is called, alumina is transported through NALCO's own dedicated BTAP wagons. Please see this figure. These are BTAP wagons. Bogie tank for alumina powder. Right? So they have this exclusive, these things. And so this plant is your raw material, they extract raw material here, it is in Damanjodi, this area, then it goes to here, smelter plant, this is they get aluminium and power they get from this plant. This smelter and CPP, one, if you go in roadside NH, right side is smelter, left side is CPP, right? And the output of aluminum. This is also a heavy product. So how you transport, how you export? So generally through your seaways and all. So from here, Anugur, they used to send the material to Visakhapatnam, and from there it goes to seaways. That means they have their dedicated transport facilities. So all the big manufacturing companies. Then coming to inbound quality control. The quality emphasis has shifted from detection during the receipt of production to prevention earlier in the material sourcing process. So if you prevent early, stitching time saves 9. So if you prevent it early, so it is advantageous for us. So this requires a strong awareness concerning a supplier's role in the quality process. Next is receiving and storage. You receive the material and you store. It is applicable for non-JIT system. It is not applicable for JIT. Why? Because in JIT, just in time, you don't store the material. You just receive the material and work on it. So receiving and storage includes a variety of tasks. For example, a farm must process incoming receipts usually through a computer terminal, which updates the in-transit file, purchasing files, the accounts payable system, as well as any other systems requiring receipt information. Other tasks include the possible inspection of material and its storage awaiting final production. So this is receiving and storage. Next is material control and inventory control. See, material control deals with incoming materials coming from supplier. Right? So this is inbound, orange color, inbound, all the component parts, raw materials, etc. This is material control. While inventory control deals with inventory level of finished goods needed to support customer requirement. Right? So inbound material, we call it as materials control. This orange color inbound is material control, and outbound material, finished products, we call it as inventory control. This blue, export blue. Right? Next is production planning and scheduling. The activity involves determining the aggregate levels of production for a family of items along with a time phase. Detailed schedule of production. See here, this is demand management. Suppose they forecast. This is the demand. The actual demand is this, anticipated demand is, so this is demand management. So here it goes for a production plan. So production plans, here master production schedule. Suppose they want to manufacture 1000 cycles. So for 1000 cycles, they require 1000 handles, they require 1000 into 2000 wheels, 2000 rims. Right? Suppose one rim have n number of spokes. So 2 rings means 2n number of spokes. So you have 1000 into 2n number of spokes you want. So this is master production schedule. So here material requirement planning you do, and capacity, what is your capacity? How much is your capacity? Or if it exceeds, then you can outsource also. So this is all about production planning and scheduling. Next is vendor development or supplier development. So what is the advantages of developing a supplier? Because we have seen that earlier supplier was outside. In supply chain management, they have included the suppliers as an integral part. So if you behave suppliers as an integral part, you develop. You share your information with supplier and you get also suppliers information. So it is a win-win situation. So there are stages in vendor management process. First is evaluation, then you negotiate, then you transfer the knowledge, because you have some expertise and all, you share your knowledge and expertise, then performance analysis, then renew and or separate. So it is the process of collaborating with strategic suppliers to improve their performance. Their performance will improve means it is also advantageous for you. That means the cost of the product, the cost of the raw material will decrease. The cost of the raw material will decrease means your return on investment will increase. So supplier development typically works to increase capability and capacity in the areas of product development, social compliance, manufacturing, and shipping, among others. Next is value engineering. Value engineering means providing necessary functions in a project at the lowest cost. It promotes this substitution of materials and methods with less expensive alternatives. So always you see for improvement with respect to material, whether you can use substitute material or not, and improvement with respect to process, whether you can improve the efficiency or effectiveness of the process or not. So here this please refer to this graph. X-axis you have value, y-axis cost. So here you have value engineering. That means cost is low and value is high. So we are here. Next is organizational structure of materials management. So importance of materials management and supply chain management department increases due to the increased importance of material management function. Because in material management, we are focusing on around 80% of the value. So these professionals are representing board now and they report directly to the CEO. That means you see the importance of materials manager or supply chain manager. So obviously the responsibilities include production planning and scheduling, logistics, purchasing and operations. Organizations have evolved from the concept of materials management, which refers to an integrated set of functions within an organization spanning inbound and outbound logistics, to the concept of supply chain management. So what is the difference between materials management and supply chain management? Materials management means it was confined to purchase department, production department and distribution department. But in supply chain management, you include the external things, that is suppliers and customers. So we can say that materials management is a subset of supply chain management. So lower inventories throughout the chain, shorter cycle times, improved planning and lower cost. And then coming to logistics organizations, it has 4 parts. First is organizing the logistics efforts to know why a logistics organization is needed. Second is formal to the informal organizations forms, companies, organization structures and all. Third is concerns the management of logistics across different organizations. And finally, alternatives to organizational structure that have the purpose of operating a supply chain, namely outsourcing some or all the logistics efforts through the strategic logistics alliances, logistics partnership and logistics third-party providers. Then what is the need for organization structures? We have seen, suppose the traditional organizations have three primary functions. So what are those? Marketing, operations, and finance. All have different objectives. As we have seen, what is the marketing department's objective? Marketing department objective is to satisfy the customer. So how you satisfy the customer? You give at a lesser price and give as quickly as possible. But in operations department, the distribution department, they try to minimize their distribution cost. So they will try to utilize the truckload. So which has a conflict here. And finance department, always they will want the cost reduction. Right? So all they have different objectives, conflicts. So marketing may desire fast delivery to support sales, whereas manufacturing, if it has responsibility for traffic, may desire the lowest cost routing. So these are all these functional areas, it has all different objectives, but according to supply chain, we have to minimize the total cost. Next is management. Providing some organizational structure to logistics activities also defines the necessary lines of authority and responsibility to ensure that goods are moved accordingly to plan and that pre-plan is carried out when needed. We'll see what is this. If the balance between customer service and the cost to produce the service are critical to the operation of a particular farm, someone should be placed in charge of overseeing the product movement. Importance of organizations to logistics. One is your extractive industry. We have divided industry into some categories. One is extractive industry. What is extractive? The farms that produce basic raw materials, mainly for use by other industries. Examples: lumbering, mining, agriculture, etc. So these are extractive industry. For Nalco, their Damanjodi plant is extractive industry. So logistics operations involves here the securing of wide variety of goods needed in the extractive operations. So capital equipment and supplies for operations are typical for such purchases. So purchasing and transportations are the primary supply side logistics activity, purchasing and production. And outbound products typically also have a limited diversity. Mainly they produce limited variety of finished goods, relatively low value and are shipped in bulk. So controlling shipping in terms of mode selections, because you have different transportation mode. One is roadways by truck, one is railway, one is seaways by ship, another is airways. And we can have our dedicated pipeline also. So these are mainly the 5 mode of selection. So we have to select the correct mode, and the routing and the equipment utilization is the major concern. So therefore, the farms in these industries are like to have very visible material management department. Material management is significant here. Okay? Here, supply chain, what are the components? Supplier, manufacturer, distributor, retailer, shopper. Right? So here raw material comes from supplier, in manufacturer, manufacturing planning and control. So this is processing, transformation of raw material into finished goods. So in distribution systems, this is physical distribution to customer, finished goods. So these goods flow in this direction, forward direction, and information flows in both the directions. Next, coming to service industries, examples, your hospitals, insurance companies, transportation companies, telecom, these are all service. So firms in this industry convert tangible supplies into service offering. The main difference between manufacturing sector and service sector is the output of service sector is intangible, while the output of manufacturing sector is tangible. So here a variety of product items are purchased, many of which are critical from suppliers that are geographically dispersed. You get material from foreign countries also. So these items are entirely consumed in producing the service. So purchasing and inventory management are primary logistics activities to be managed, with the slightly less concerns about transportation, since many of the suppliers are received under a delivery pricing arrangement. So logistics cost can be significant to such firms, but the associated activities take place on the supply side of the firm. So organizations for logistics centers on material management with typically little recognition given to any physical distribution activities, because these are all intangible. There is no physical distribution activities. Then coming to firms that purchase goods mainly for resale. So the examples are distributor or retailers. So retailers, it break the bulk. It purchase in bulk and break it and sell in small quantities. Do little to change in the form of the product. So major concerns are with selling and logistics activities. So such firm purchase many items from many suppliers, n number of items from n number of suppliers that are geographically dispersed. So these items are resold in diverse combinations and in small quantities, breaking the bulk, usually within a limited geographical area. Because a distributor or a retailer, it acts in some restricted area. So purchasing, inbound traffic, inventory control, warehousing, order picking, and shipping characteristics characterize operations. Here, organizations for the management of logistics is significant and usually will involve both material management and physical distribution activities, because both incoming and outgoing materials are important. Then we have manufacturing industry. So firms that purchased a wide variety of items from many suppliers for the purpose of transforming them into items of relatively high value. Again, you take the example of NALCO, National Aluminium Company. So what is the finished product? Finished product is aluminium. What are the inputs? Inputs is, one is bauxite. Bauxite they get from Damanjodi, 450 kilometers. Then for energy, for thermal power plant, they need coal. So they buy coal from nearby area, Talcher and all. So these are the inward logistics. And the outward logistics is aluminium that they have to, mainly they are exporting. Exporting means from Nalco, Anugur, they are sending to Visakhapatnam, and then from Visakhapatnam, they send it to foreign countries and all. So here organizations designs include both material management and physical distribution. That means incoming as well as outgoing. Suppose, say for steel you need coal and iron ore, right? And the output of steel also, they are very bulky. And you are exporting steel means the only mode is ship mode, shipways, right? You can see this. Then we'll see the different types of organizations and the structure. So organizations refers to a collection of people who are working towards a common goal and objective. There are two broad categories of organizations. One is formal, another is informal. So first we'll study formal organizations, then informal. So what is formal? As the name suggests, the authority and responsibility are clearly defined. And the organizational structure has a defined delegation of authority and roles and the responsibilities for the members. It has predefined policies, rules, schedules, procedures, and programs. And the decision-making activity is mostly based on predefined policy. The structure is created by the management with the objective of attaining the organizational goal. There are formal organizations. There are mainly 5 types of organizations. One is line organization, line and staff organizations, then functional organizations, project organizations, and lastly, matrix organizations. Then first one, coming to line organizations. See, this is the flowchart of line organization. Highest is the president. Under him is vice president. So there are 3 managers, manager A, manager B, and manager C. They are reporting to the vice president, and vice president is reporting to president. Take for example manager B. Under manager B, you have 1 assistant manager. There are some supervisors under him, and supervisors in number of workers. So this is an example of line organization. President, vice president, manager B, assistant manager, supervisors, workers. So generally the military and all line organization. So it is the simplest organization structure and the oldest organization structure. It is known as scalar or military or departmental type of organization. The authority is well defined and it flows vertically from top to bottom. Clear division of accountability, authority, and responsibility in the line organization structure. And there are some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages, we'll see 3 advantages: clear chain of command, rapid decision making, and accountability. Disadvantages is limited adaptability, sluggish decision making, and burden on top level management, and also limited cross-functional collaboration. Next is line and staff organizations. Suppose here you have president, right? Under him you have 3 vice president: vice president sales, vice president productions, vice president finance. So under vice president production, you have production supervisors in number of production supervisors to carry out some jobs. So you have 3 vice presidents: sales, production, finance. But here you have 1 legal advisor who expertises in legal matter. So legal matter is required for sales and marketing, for production as well as finance. So that means this legal advisor, they will advise to all these 3. So this is called line and staff. So this is line authority, this straight line, and dotted line is staff authority. So line and staff organizations is an improved version of the line organization. In line and staff organization, the functional specialists are added in line. This is legal is one of the functional specialists. The staff is for assisting the line members in achieving the target effectively. So what are the advantages? Advantages: easy decision making as work is divided, greater coordination between line and staff, and provide workers the opportunity for growth. Disadvantage is conflict may arise between line and staff. Staff members provide suggestions to the line members and the decision is taken by the line member. It makes the staff members feel ignored. Take the example of General Electric, GE. GE is a multinational conglomerate known for its diverse business operations. In GE's organizational structure, line positions handle core operations such as manufacturing, sales, etc. While staff positions provide specialized support like legal, finance, and HR, like this. Next is functional organizations. Different types of functions means suppose marketing is a function, finance is a function, HR, operations. So here the task of managing and directing the employees is arranged as per the function they specialize. There are three types of members: line member, staff member, and functional member. So here you see this president, you have R&D manager, under him you have line, design, development, testing. You have finance manager, under him accounting, purchasing, finance. You have marketing manager, under him might be sales, customer service, marketing research, sales and distribution, etc. Under division product jet, you have line supervisors, production team, distributor. So what is the advantages? Advantages has to perform a limited number of tasks which improves the accuracy of the work. Improvement in the product quality due to involvement of specialists. So disadvantages, it is difficult to achieve coordination among workers as there is no one to manage them directly. So conflicts may arise due to the members having equal positions. Next is project organizations. Project means it is a specific thing. It is one and only, unique. So what is the difference between project and operations? Operations means day-to-day activities. Like for example, manufacturing steel in Tata Steel is operations. But setting up Tata Steel is a project. So project, you have starting time, finishing time. So here we can have three project manager. Under project manager, you have staff. And so you coordinate this. So a project organization is a temporary form because you have a start and you have a finish. Temporary form of organization structure that is formed to manage projects for a specific period of time. So this form of organizations has specialists from different departments who are brought together for developing a new product for a specific time. So advantage is presence of many specialists from different departments increases the coordination. And there can be a delay in completion of job also. The last one is matrix organizations under formal organizations. So here, this is a combination of functional and project organizations. There are two lines of authority, the functional part of the organizations and project management part of the organizations, and they have vertical and horizontal flow of authority. See here, this is top management. So under top management, you have manufacturing, you have different functional areas, manufacturing manager, sales manager, finance manager, HR manager. So suppose sales manager, you have sales team, n number of sales teams. Here suppose there is a project manager A for project A. So it takes some specialist from manufacturing unit, some from sales, some from finance, and some from HR. So this is a matrix organization known as MO. So what is the advantage? Since the matrix organizations is a combination of functional and project management teams, there is an improved coordination between the vertical as well as horizontal functions. And informal organizations are those types of organizations which do not have a defined hierarchy of authority and responsibility. The relationship between employees is formed based on a common interest, preference, and prejudice. This is the example of organizational chart of Materials Management Department of DSP. DSP stands for Durgapur Steel Plant. Durgapur Steel Plant is an integrated steel plant which is coming under Steel Authority of India Limited. It is situated in Durgapur, West Bengal, right? It is mainly produces your TMT bar, other structures, and railway axle and wheels. So if we take the organizational chart of materials management department, you have one ED, executive director for material management, one executive director. So Mr. K. Bhattacharya, this is the real Mr. K. Bhattacharya is the executive director. So the Adhikari is his senior manager, he is his secretary. So under him you have two CGM, Chief General Manager, T. Vinod and CR Mishra. This is for materials manager, this is for marketing. Under T. Vinod, Chief General Manager, materials manager, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 numbers of general manager. Suppose take for example this C. Patra. C. Patra is the general manager and HOD. Under him we have two AGM and all. He is, suppose this fellow, Mr. Patra, this gentleman is looking after the electrical parts as well as the refractories. Say might be Mr. Parida is looking after raw materials, or Mr. Maitri is looking after mechanical parts and all. So this is the organizational chart for materials management department of Durgapur Steel Plant. Next is organizational positioning. One is decentralization versus centralization. Next is staff versus line, and third one is large company versus small company. So first is decentralization versus centralization. So whether activities should be grouped close to top management or dispersed throughout the divisions of the larger firms. For example, a major electric company had a number of products divisions such as industrial electrical equipment, nuclear power, small appliance, major appliance, and labs. So here a centralized organization groups logistics activities at the corporate level for the purpose of serving all product groups. So this is a centralized organization. On the other hand, the decentralized logistics organization puts the responsibility for logistics at the product group or division level. A separate decentralized logistics organization is established to serve each division. Take for example the prominent diagnostic center of India, Dr. Lal Path Labs. Before pandemic, they have around thousands of diagnostics or pathological units in India. Before pandemic, it was decentralized. That means, suppose there is a unit in Coimbatore, so that Coimbatore unit used to purchase the material locally. So all are decentralized. So all are decentralized means you have some disadvantages because quality of the product, quality of the raw material may vary. Price also, suppose you are purchasing less, so your purchase price will be more. So during pandemic or after pandemic, they have centralized the purchasing process. That means, suppose at the end of the day, all the MIS report will come. That suppose for this item, for Coimbatore, you need this liter of chemical. For Cuttack, you need this liter of chemical. So they have grouped together and they have purchased and they have sent it. So centralized purchasing means you can have a standard product and you are purchasing in bulk means your purchase cost reduces. So centralized versus decentralized. In centralized, you can have third party involvement because you are dealing with huge quantity. Control, full control stays with the central authority. Here, control stays with the user itself. So these are the things about centralized advantages, disadvantages, decentralized advantages, disadvantages. Decentralized, your advantage is full control. Next is large and small. The small farm has just as many logistics problem as large farm because there are similar types of operations. So in some ways, logistics activities are more important because this small farm does not benefit from volume purchases and volume movements as does the larger farm. So larger farm means you purchase heavy quantity, larger quantity. So you get quantity discount. And you can have sophisticated material handling equipment also. You can have your dedicated transport also, or you can give it to third party. Organizationally, the small firm has some form of centralized organizations because for practical purposes, no product divisions exist. Also, logistics activities are not as likely to be clearly defined and structured as in larger firm. Next is super organization theory. This is a beautiful concept. See here, it is called bullseye, right? Here the bullseye, the super organizations, the bullseye is material management. That means all your activity is targeted to materials management, right? So it emphasizes the interdependence and interconnectedness of various entities involved in material management, including suppliers, customers, logistics partners, even competitors. So there are some principles. One is shared vision and goal. All the entities within the super organization share a common vision and goals related to this bullseye. This bullseye is materials management. Collaborative relationship. It involves open communication, sharing of information and knowledge, and joint problem solving. Next is integrated processes. Ensure smooth flow of materials, information, and resources throughout the supply chain. Continuous improvement. All the departments, they try to continuously improve. This is one of the characteristics of TQM, total quality management. So application is supply chain management because it takes both customer as well as suppliers also. So leading to improved material management performance. Next is team-based organization structure. So what is the advantage of team? Team members are focused for achieving an organization goal. Suppose n number of people are working means, so you can have a synergy, right? 1 + 1 is not equal to 2, it is more than 2. And problem solving also is faster. So team together, everyone achieves more. In some healthcare industry also, in some good hospitals and all, a team of doctor approaches the patient. Next is your alliances and third-party service provider. Some firms choose to share their logistical capabilities with other firms or to contract for the logistics activities to be performed by firms specializing in providing such services or third party. Suppose your core area is to design, to manufacture, and transportation is not your core area. Then why you put your head in transportation? You put your time and energy. You give it to a third party who is specialized in transportations and all. So here, what are the benefits? Benefits is reduced cost and lower capital requirement, access to technology and manage skills. For example, Dell Computer consider its core competence to be marketing and manufacturing of high technology PC hardware rather than logistics. So these direct marketing firms contracts with the several third-party logistics providers to coordinate distribution firms in geographical area. So here we have in this session we have discussed the importance of materials management, because we are handling the material means we are handling 80% of the cost. Material management activities and its functions, then different types of organizations and organizational position. So this finishes Unit 12. Thank you. Thank you for attending this session.